Hi guys, my name is David and welcome back to another episode of Horror Poetry. Today's poem comes from a brand new author, well, for me anyway, and that is from Rod Gilley. I recently reviewed Rod's, novella or short story collection called The Hero, the Fear and the Dates, which I talked about recently. So I will have it linked down below in case you want to check it out. But Rod reached out to me and said, "Okay, I've done this poem. Would you mind reading it on my? Would I mind reading it on my channel for him?" And yeah, I read it and I thought, okay, it's not technically horror, but it does talk about horrific elements, things that scare us personally, and that revolves around the concept of being in isolation and being alone, and also the fear of thinking to yourself that you may always be alone. I think that's more psychological horror than physical horror. So for that very reason, I am going to classify this as a horror poem in my personal opinion. So today's poem is called Lone Wolf No More. Lone wolf, hungry, prowling, brutal. I was what I had to be in the world I didn't choose. Eat or be eaten. Young, strong, proud, lone wolf. I ruled my kingdom of one, never thinking the lone wolf was just alone. What are you there? Eyes with no fear. Not a predator, not prey. A low growl from my lungs. Beware, the lone wolf, mysterious one. No match for the lone wolf, yet not backing away. A threat? No, an unspoken welcome. I lie beside you, stroking your hair. You touch me. Where is my fierce growl? It has become a purr. I am the lone wolf, no more. So when I read this poem, because I've read it about 4 times now, overall I really enjoyed it. It was very effective. It had a good flow and it gave you enough information to gauge this character. But my only criticism, and I'm not sure when I think about it if this is a criticism or not, because I've never criticized a poem before, is the section where it says, I lie beside you, stroking your hair. Now, throughout the whole of the poem, you are led to believe that the lone wolf character is in fact a wolf, a physical wolf, or maybe a stray dog of some sort, an animal basically. But when it says, I lie beside you, stroking your hair, when it says it implies that it's the lone wolf character, which we have been led to believe that is a wolf or a dog of some sort, or an animal. But when it has the part where it says stroking your hair, your is the character or the entity that has come into this lone wolf character's life. It implies that because dogs can't stroke human hair, well, they can, but have their paw in it. But it implies that this lone wolf character is a human being. Now, when I think about it, that isn't really too far-fetched, because a load of us are alone and feel that we are lone wolves, and we may feel alone, we feel hungry, prowling, maybe indicated about us walking around and going into the shops and going where people are. Brutal, well, that could be our mood, or it could be signifying the environment around us and how we perceive the environment around us. The poem has a part where it has an entity that's been introduced to the lone wolf character. Now, it doesn't necessarily say if it's a human character or an animal character, But what I think about is that, well, I've just thought about this, is that the lone wolf character, in my personal opinion, is a human being character who feels alone, he feels self-isolated, he feels cut off from the rest of humanity. He may be a introvert, or he or she. But because it's my video, I'm going to call it a he. But when this other character or entity is introduced, I believe that that entity is a animal, like a dog or a cat. So that would explain the part where it says, I lie beside you, because we can lie on the floor with our dogs or cats or animals or whatever and stroke their hair or fur. So that's been a kind of a long-winded explanation. But that was the only part that I kind of made me think, it kind of tipped the scale, thinking, okay, maybe this isn't what I first perceived it to be. Maybe it's not in black and white as it first appears to be. Maybe it's one that makes you think. Maybe it's got more layers to it than just a simple poem about a dog that finds an owner. So yeah, I'm not sure if Rod has done any other poems. I'm not even sure if he has anything published. I'm pretty sure that this might be one poem that he has written that is not published, that he just wants me to read. But I'm intrigued to read more poetry, so if you've got any more poems, Rod, just send them my way, and if they are horror based, then I will read them on my channel, because I only like to focus on horror poetry, because that's the whole point of me doing this poetry reading, is because of the founder of this whole series I'm doing, Pax Panic, who was fascinated with horror poetry. So that's why I'm just focusing on horror poetry. So yeah, I will have a couple of links down below in the description to Rod, which I'm pretty sure are his website, his YouTube channel, and his Twitter link, which I will have down below in case you want to check him out. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, a bit longer than usual. But yeah, hopefully you had fun with it, and yeah, I will see you in my next one.